Hi, my name is Bass, and in this video I'm going to show you how you might end up with the wrong this in a TypeScript class and how you can fix it. To understand this a bit better, we need to understand the concept of the calling context. Over here we have a simple function foo, which simply logs out this to the console. First we call this function foo from the global context. In this case, this will refer to window. However, in the second case, we're creating an object bar with a property bash set to 1 to 3, and we're attaching the function foo to this object, and then we call this function as a property on bar. In this case, within foo, this is going to refer to the bar object. The output to the console confirms this. In the first case, this was window. In the second case, it was the object bar. Now that we understand this a bit better, let's look at a TypeScript class. We have a simple class foo, which has a property bar and a function bash, which logs bar to the console. Now if you create an instance of this class and call the function bash on this instance, it is going to work as expected. We will see this.bar, which is 1, 2, 3, logged to the console. Now let's look at the two cases where this might be wrong. If we create a function inside some member function, for example, we need a callback for an AJAX request, or in this case, a callback for a set timeout, this will refer to the context chosen by the calling function, which in this case is set timeout. For set timeout, the calling context is window. Therefore, for the given example, this will refer to window, and this.bar will be undefined. And the console log reflects this fact. Now to ensure that the context is preserved in callbacks and that we get the correct this, we can use the TypeScript lambda function. We simply replace the function keyword with the fat arrow. And now TypeScript ensures that this refers to what it would in the absence of a callback. From the generated JavaScript, you can see that TypeScript does it by simply copying this from before the callback and then uses that value instead of the actual this within the callback. So the function body becomes independent of the calling context and we get the correct result. Now let's look at the second case where this might be wrong. We go back to the basic example of a simple function body that logs this.bar to the console. We create an instance of the class. Now instead of calling the member function directly, we copy the member function into a variable and then call it. Again, the calling context will be wrong as we are not calling the function as a member of our instance. In this case, it will be the global window object. And you can see that it is indeed the case on the console. Although in this example, we are explicit in copying the member function into a variable, this might also happen when we pass a member function as a callback parameter. Again, someone else will call it and the calling context will be determined by someone else. The fix is similar to what we did before. We simply use a fat arrow in the function declaration. Again, TypeScript simply copies this from before the function declaration and then uses that value instead of the actual this. And we get the correct result as verified by the console. One final thing that I want to mention is that you can safely nest lambda functions, that is the fat arrow, and TypeScript will preserve the outermost this. To recap, we saw two ways in which you might end up with the wrong this in a TypeScript class and how to fix them. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button and share it with your friends. Till next time, have a great day.